Well, I was diagnosed in 1999. I had had some of the symptoms for a couple of years before that. And I wasn't sure what it was until 99 I was diagnosed. It's an elimination diagnosis, so they just don't find anything else. They put it under this big umbrella of Parkinson's. And so it's really pretty problematic to solve it because there's so many elements to it.
You mentioned that you are going to have a lot of movement right now because the medication kicked in.
Yes.
And
yeah, the dopamine helps me move and it helps me speak, but it also gives me this really terrible side effect called dyskinesia, which is really a tightening of your muscles. And so muscles are constantly tightening and loosening, and that's what makes the movement. And it's, you know, it's like, it's not Parkinson's. Parkinson's is the other way for me. It makes me freeze. Makes me have that stutter step, you know, and stutter in my voice and mask face, and I can't articulate. You know, I feel like I'm really weak. I can't sit up straight. Everything is hurting.
so you have a recent experience where somebody thought that you were intoxicated, and that was because you were reacting to the medication.
Right.
Do you want to?
Dyskinesia came on, much like this. It was about this bad, maybe slightly worse. But I was, you know, really having a spastic time. I was sitting in my friend's car waiting for her to come out of the dentist that was nearby. And I started doing this, jerking around, and I thought, well, I'll go for a walk, and that will help. I was out in front of the Libero theater there, and they have all these steps. So I did the steps up and down a couple times, and that didn't really help. So I sat down in the middle of the steps. I laid back a little bit and tried to relax, and my arms were kind of flailing and stuff. So I thought that's probably looks strange. I should probably go back in the car. So I went back to the car. I was sitting there, you know, just doing this jerking stuff and trying to do some deep breathing. Sometimes it helps a lot, but it was just really far gone. It was just, you know, dopamine had hit really hard. I hadn't eaten. So I was really hungry, and it just hit me. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I realized behind the car, a police officer's car had pulled up. And so I looked in the mirror, and he was approaching the car with his gun drawn. And I opened the door and stepped out and said, I'm having a Parkinson's reaction or something like that. He said, just put your hands up and turn around. And he was going to cuff me.
Oh, jeez.
And the other guy that was with him, he was out of uniform, he said, I know this dyskinesia, and why don't we just talk to her? And so they did talk to me, and I told them it wasn't, you know, the worst dyskinesia that I'd had for a while. But it was really spastic, and it didn't make me not know who I was or anything like that. I was more aware when I was hyper like this than I am when I'm down. He said somebody had seen me and thought I was having a seizure, or they thought maybe I was really high on something. And I was there to observe, and so I was sitting in the back on a yoga mat, and I was moving like this, and it was really disruptive to the person in front of me. She was an older woman, and she was really very good at yoga, and obviously very accomplished. And she had on beautiful yoga clothes and stuff, and she was just really kept looking back at me like I was really bothering her because I was moving. And so I laid down and did some meditation. Kind of didn't observe the class. I just decided I wouldn't do it. And then at the end of the class, I went up to her and told her that she had made some comment to the teacher in front of me that she could not concentrate.
Oh, jeez.
And the teacher said, I think it was Melanie subbing for Kat, that's what it was. Melanie said, that's one of the challenges that yoga can help you with, that you can get beyond those kinds of things. You should be able to do your practice no matter where you are, no matter what's happening around you.
Good for her.
You're good enough to do that. And then she kind of made some, I just found it really distracting. And then she told her that I had Parkinson's, and she felt so bad. You could tell her face dropped, and she felt real guilty about it. And so I went up to her and said, I'm really sorry I disrupted your class today. It was not my intention, but I couldn't make it stop, so I just had no choice but to pull out, you know. And she said, I really need to think about this because this is not okay for me to be judging people.
What is it that you hope people will learn and understand from this?
Well, what I found is the people who accept it, they take me to the level of they see beyond the physical body. And that's, I think, the goal for all of us, to see the God self, the true self.
Mm-hmm.
And so a disability helps people see it sooner because they don't like to see the covering, to look past it. And it's really nice to have people who look past it, like you know, who never questioned our friendship, no matter how embarrassing I've been, or, you know, it's been really sad at times, and you just didn't play off on that, you know. It wasn't like you didn't accept it, but you just didn't, you knew it wasn't a reality that had to be, you know, talked about or whatever, that it's just a malady that happens to me, and it's not my real self.
Mm-hmm.
You've always stayed in connection with my real self, and that's made me feel a lot of love, and you know, I've been able to be more well being with people like you and Jeevna, who always sees me as a whole person, no matter what's happening. It means so much, because that's what happens is people get belittled or they get degraded when they're not perfect, you know. And you start to feel it in yourself. I'm not okay, you know. I have a problem, and it bothers other people. So I've had to turn it over to those people to let it bother them, and then encourage them to not worry about it, you know. And if they can do that, then I can do anything with them.